Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome and good evening to all the viewers of Facebook page of Purna Vision Foundation and YouTube channel Apla Paryavaran. So today is our 51st webinar of the webinar series, which we have started since August 2020. So it's almost a year now since we have started this series. So initially we had started it on Wednesdays and now we conduct it on Saturdays 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. So if you're interested to watch these webinars, you can visit our Facebook page, follow us, and you will see all the 50 previous webinars on our page. So don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn pages. So let us start with today's webinar, which is environment education. But before starting, I would like to introduce you all to Purnamiko Vision Foundation. I hope all are familiar with the projects which we conduct. But for those who are new, let us go from the beginning. So, firstly, we have fabric upcycling project under which we collect old clothes. Every week on the weekends, we collect these clothes. We segregate them and we donate it to the needy. Out of the remaining clothes, we upcycle it into variety of products through involvement of women for self-help groups, and thus we support women empowerment. So if you are interested in buying these products, you can visit our website and also contact us on our social media pages. Secondly, we have e-waste and plastic waste management project under which we collect e-waste and plastic at society and commercial level. We segregate into repairable and non-repairable items, and refurbishment of the e-waste is done and donated to the needy. We recycle the plastic, and the non-reusable material is given to MPCB, that is to authorized recyclers, and that is hand over to them. Thirdly, we have green consultancy project under which comes composting, rainwater harvesting, and biogas units. So we do it at society and commercial level as well. So if you're interested in these projects, please contact us. Uh, we also have a sanitary napkin disposal unit, and a survey regarding rural and urban solid waste management is also done under green consultancy project. So coming back to our today's webinar, which is on environment education. So let us get introduced to our today's guest speaker, Mr. Kaustubh Bhagat sir. Welcome, sir. Kaustubh sir is currently assistant professor teaching at environmental studies at Tolani College of Commerce, which is affiliated to University of Mumbai. He has completed his post-graduation in environmental sciences from the University of Pune, and his graduation is from Ram Narayan Ruia College, University of Mumbai. He has been in the field of environment education and research since 2006, and he has been associated with acclaimed institutions or organizations like NIO, that is National Institute of Oceanography, which is in Mumbai, Worldwide Fund for Nature India, that is WWF India, as well as Bombay Natural History Society, BNHS, and Green Line. So he has to credit his research papers and reports as well in popular articles. So welcome Kaustubh sir, and thank you for associating with Purnamiko Vision Foundation. We are glad to listen wise words from you for the topic environment education. Shall we commence the session?
Sure. Thank you. First and foremost, thank you, Purnamiko Vision, for inviting me for this webinar.
Thank
And I feel lucky to be on the 51st webinar. Yeah,
you. Yes.
sure. So I'll just share my screen.
Sure, sir.
Yeah, is the full screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sure. Thank you. So today I'm speaking about environment education, but from the perspective of sustainable development. yeah, we will be discussing more about environment education, what are its basics, but there are certain parts which I may let me very frank about this. This opinion are personal, my personal opinion. They are neither, the Purnam Economy Region did not subscribe to them, neither would my institution, Tolani College, subscribe to them. So let's begin. Uh, the topics that we'll be covering today would be what is environment education, education through environment education through ages, tools of environment education, the environment education paradigm, the components of environment education program, and of course the career opportunities in environment education. These would be 6 topics which we will be discussing. I can't say at a length, but we will try to touch upon these. So what is environment education? If you look at it, the textbook definition that you will come across would be these. Environment education is a learning process that increases people's knowledge and awareness about environment and associated challenges, develops the necessary skill and expertise to address challenges, fosters attitudes, motivations, and commitments to make informed decisions and take responsible action. This is by the International Conference on Environmental Education, the UNESCO conference. Then again, US EPA has a much more simpler definition. It says environmental education is a process that allows individual to explore environmental issues, engage in problem solving, and take action to improve environment. Simple. This is the US Environment Protection Agency. So if you look at it in a broad way, it is nothing but learning about environment and using it to ensure that the impact on the environment is minimum. That is what environment education has to be. It is not just about learning about environment. It's also about what would our actions have impact on environment. Let's face it, all our actions have impact on environment. Something as simple as we breathe in and breathe out. When we breathe in, we take in oxygen, we give out carbon dioxide. That action itself is affecting environment. How can we say that our actions will not affect environment? Each and every action that we take is going to affect environment. So if you look at environment education through ages, don't worry, I will not be talking about the ancient times, this was happening, that was happening. No, in just few this thing, whether you take any culture, any religion to that matter, it talks about environment protection, it talks about harmony with nature. You read any scripture, any cultural document, any cultural part that you like to story, anything, it will talk about protection of environment. It talk about harmony with nature. Not just one religion or other, across the world, all religions speak about environment protection. They talk about harmony with nature. So all the customs, traditions, rituals, they all are influenced by the local environment. Unfortunately, what has happened is we have stopped questioning these, why a particular thing is happening. We have got a lot of festivals that are environment based, right? From Vata Purnima to everything. It is environment based, I would say, because end of the day, it is about protection of a tree. Otherwise, banyan tree ko koi value, nobody's going to give a value to a tree like banyan tree, which is of no economic importance per se. Right? People always say, when in Islam, when they break the fast, the roza, they always eat date. Why is it the date? Because that's probably the only fruit that was found in the desert region. Local environment affecting the traditions and rituals. In Christianity, there is something called Palm Sundays. Around the time of Easter, there is something called Palm Sunday. So Palm Sunday is nothing but that, Palm Thursday, sorry. It's nothing but, they have these palm leaves that they make. Why is it so? Because probably, again, date palm was the most common plant over there. Look at all the flowers or leaves that are offered to the deities. They would always be which are commonly available. So local environment always influences customs, traditions, rituals. am not talking about religion per se, but see, this is something that we need to understand, that environment education is there through religion itself, through customs itself, through cultures, all throughout. Unfortunately, we take all these things as much as per our what you call convenience. Unfortunately, like even if you look at Karl Marx, he says nature is man's organic body. What he mean in inorganic body, what it basically means is man and nature are one and the same. We all know what Gandhiji said, that earth has enough resources for our need, but not for our greed. Aboriginals, they say that land owns us. Basically, that means what we are based on a base of the land that we live. The Native American Indians, the Native Indians who were previously referred to as Red Indians, they are like, they say, all, honor all with whom we share the earth, whether they are four-legged, two-legged, winged ones, swimmers, crawlers, rock people. What is the rock people? See, they used to associate every animal with people. In the sense, they would call them rabbit people, rock people, right? Plant people. So they would call them in such a way that they are almost, we share the habitat with this. This has been there all throughout. Unfortunately, in the whole modernized era or this thing, we have lost this touch. Coming back, let's, this was just to introduce you that to understand that environment education is not a new concept. It has been there for ages, right? Unfortunately, somewhere down the line, we have to be reminded that environment education is essential. If you look at the tools for environment education, most of us are aware about them. Frankly speaking, something like a classroom lecture, a slide-based presentation, lectures, workshops, these are there. Or it could be a field visit. Or maybe interpretation centers. These are all tools of environment education. Exhibitions, photographic exhibitions or something like that, these are all tools of environment education. Games, like, we can develop any game can be associated or can be converted to an environment education game. I still remember one of the quizzes in our college, they decided to have a intercollegiate festival, and so they decided to have a quiz. They twisted the quiz into a board game where they prepared a dice and they changed the whole, it was all made out of recycled part, but they turn it into a game. So every time you roll a dice, you have to answer a question that is related to water conservation and only then move ahead. If you get it right, then you can move ahead. So this was it was a tool of environment education. Like interactive posters or diorama. This is Span Your Wing, which is at BNHS Flamingo Festival. They had these huge flex put up in which they have measured different birds, wingspan of different birds, and you can compare yourself with what bird it could be. So that was another interesting aspect. Or cartooning. People always say, what do I need for environment education? You need passion. Like this, these are courtesy Rohan Chakrabarti. If most of you have heard about him through Green Humor. Of course, the first part, that is the caterpillar and the centipede and the millipede part, I am not sure about the author who has about the creator, unfortunately. But rest are by Rohan Chakrabarti. So basically, the skill that he has, he's a dentist by profession, but passionate about environment. So he started using his skills. He also likes cartooning, so he used that. The first one, first cartoon, if you look at it, it's one of the, what you call, easy way to understand what you call difference between centipede and a millipede. A millipede has more legs as compared to the centipede. That's the first part. Then the centipede has what you call pincers. So this was an effective tool for education. Or in the second humor, we come to know about the whole myth wherein you're trying to debunk the myth of snakes drinking milk, or catching an eye to a major phenomena. This was something that he came across. He created this cartoon when we had last a couple of years back, where we had this elephant which died because of the explosive bursting in its on his trunk, in his trunk. So we there was a hue and cry on social media. Unfortunately, the latent issues or the major issues which were more associated, those are never highlighted. So tools of environment education, there are many more, right? Next comes these plantation programs, cleanup drives. I would put a big question mark for these. As much as plantation programs or cleanup drives are great at sensitizing people, it's still, I don't find them as effective. Reason being, we often don't take into consideration, is this site good enough for plantation? What happens to the plant afterwards? So people would say, I've seen, in many areas, the grasslands are converted to forest because open land for tree plantation is probably the easiest action taken. Cleanup drive, photo op ke liye bahut acha dikhta hai. You click photograph, looks, yes, we cleaned up. Next day you go there, the same place is dirty all over again. That means we are not addressing the issue over here. So that brings us to the environment education paradigm. It has always been education would lead to awareness, would lead to action, that would lead to conservation or preservation of environment. Unfortunately, yeah. Unfortunately, we don't have time for this. There is not much time. We will do the education, then people would get awareness, then they would take action, and then the environment would be protected. No, we are not in that state anymore. We are moving towards what's called, we need action to be taken. That would lead to conservation, which would lead to awareness, and that would lead to education. We have to turn it upside down. It cannot be. We are not in that position right now. Our teachers always used to say this, that shots in the dark. It's just nothing but you just shoot in the dark. Laga to laga. If that's the case, it means we don't have that luxury anymore. From there, it has to be more action oriented. The actions should lead to awareness. Yes, sensitization does happen. That you do beach cleanup, people would get sensitized. But do the people actually stop using plastic? Do they actually stop throwing waste? No, they will not. That's why the action also has to be in a proper channelized way. That is what is referred to as education for sustainable development. What Purnam Ecovision is probably doing through their upcycling of fabric. There are two parts to it. One is where the usable ones, the usable clothes can be used by the needy, and the ones that cannot be can be upcycled into some other products. Right. So, and involving women self-help group ensures women empowerment. At the same time, you get your conservation done as well. Otherwise, this one of the major problems that we all face today is the problem of excessive clothes. I don't know how many of us would agree that people always say let's be eco-friendly. So being eco-friendly does not mean that we go to Fab India, buy an organic, kurta made up of organic cotton, and yes, I am eco-friendly. That's not how it works. You have to take that extra effort. First, think about it. Do you actually need that kurti or kurta? When your whole cupboard is filled up with clothes, you still keep on buying more clothes. मुझे पहनने के लिए कुछ नहीं है. That's one of the most common excuse. When the whole wardrobe would be full. So this is where action has to start. And when you say, what does it have to do with education? There is education. We always educate a lot of people around us. We don't realize this. Knowingly, unknowingly. So, when we design an environmental programs or we talk about environment awareness education programs, there is a lot of thought process that has to go. Not just that we can lead by example, just give examples. I was speaking about action-oriented things or the whole part. When I was with Greenland, we had started a small program called E4E, E-Waste for Environment Conservation. Idea was, we found out around that time that the e-waste is a major problem, but people don't know how to dispose it, because around that time, I think 2015, the e-waste handling and manufacturing rules had come in. 1st April 2015, yes. So that's since that 1st May. So since that day, we were not allowed to dispose your e-waste with your local scrap dealer or in your garbage dump. But where do you put it in that case? Unfortunately, there was no mechanism. So we said that if you can store it, you can keep it. We will connect you to e-waste recyclers, because end of the day, they too have a business to run. They would need at least 100 kgs of e-waste so that they can come and collect it. So we tried to get in touch, rope in institutes, we tried to rope in housing societies, and they would collect this e-waste and keep it with them. Then one day we would call up, coordinate, and try to get in the e-waste recyclers. They would come and collect the whole thing, and they would get the money that was generated. We did not give them back. We did not use for the organization, or we did not give it back to the people. It went to some other organization that was working at the grassroots level for conservation. So we had around that time we had helped work with Sahyadri and Nisargamitra for their vulture conservation project. So that is how you try to correlate these things. Action oriented. Unfortunately, with tree plantation programs or your waste cleanup drives, yes, waste management, yes, if you can start a community waste management project in your locality, nothing like it, great. But if it's just mere cleanup, then that's not of great help. As far as I am concerned, I would not consider it to be a action-oriented project, because end of the day, next day, आपका waste वैसे ही है. So let's look at some of the components of environment education. One of the most important component of environment education program, often I feel, is the title or the name of the project, of the program. It has to be short, catchy, and self-explanatory. Because if it is not catchy, if it is not self-explanatory, people often can feel put off. I always give it to BNHS. They have got some of the amazing names that they come up with. Brunch with birds, breakfast with butterflies, toast to trees. They always have this kind of, so, when you like, oh, this is something interesting. So your programs, like, it should also be short. Like if I say E-Waste for Environment Conservation, it doesn't sound great. But if you say E for E, it suddenly sounds catchy. It's short, it's catchy. Time duration. This is very critical. Unfortunately, it is also a dicey field to step into. It should not be too short or too long. Again, it can be one day, it can be 1 hour, and it can extend to a long-term thing as well. There are certain environment projects which education program projects which can go for a long time. You also need to understand what would be a target audience. That is how we can design an environment project. Otherwise, you can't think about, and you have to consider things like age group. Which age group are we targeting? If you're targeting small kids and you use some scientific names, it's going to be put off for them. Location, urban landscape area, rural area, India hai. I don't know how many of you find it funny. I always find it very funny when you check on the internet. You'll always find 3 hours, 4 hours, reuse, recycle. And they would talk about, recycling newspaper. And I used to always wonder, why is it so that they're talking about, recycling of newspapers? Because show me an Indian household that does not keep newspapers for the scrap dealer or kabaddi wala. It's ingrained in us. Right? So that is something that we need to look at. But this is not true in USA, or if you go to European countries, they would just throw it out. They would not keep it for scrap dealing. They would just throw it off. That's why this awareness programs, if you have to look at the location as well. Explaining to a probably tribal or somebody who comes from a village about probable harm of industries. I don't think that helps, because that person would probably say, what are industries? What are you talking about? Or use of cars, to that matter. Economic status. Based on your economic status, your lifestyle changes. So you have to look at these as well when you're looking at your target audience. Imagine for a poor person, you tell them about, not to drive a car, not to drive a motorbike. And that poor person would be, what nonsense are you talking about? We have to walk for a long distances. Then the activity in itself, how you would design it. So based on these, the activity would include all the programs that we just discussed some time back. Are you going to have a nature walk? Are you going to have a lecture? Are you going to have a hands-on workshop? Excuse me. Then the information to be disseminated. This is very important because it needs to be researched very thoroughly. Unfortunately, environment education is often looked down upon because at times we have got people who may not be thorough with their work. I'm not saying you need a degree. You need the passion, you need the reading. Unfortunately, today WhatsApp University pe jo kuch aata hai, people forward it mindlessly without realizing. Check the authenticity. Beware of pseudoscience. A lot of things. See, let's understand one thing. No offense meant to any religion or something like that, but people often, confuse traditional knowledge with scriptures. Check the authenticity. सही है, गलत है, क्या है? Check the context. People would often recite shlokas and say, this is what it talks about environment. Check the entire context. In the entire context, the shlok might mean something else. The hymn might mean something else. So that is what you have to look, research. Without research, please do not. Always have a strong research background. आप कहीं दूसरा एक Wikipedia, or I'm not against it per se, but there are a lot of pages which are very good information on Wikipedia, but you need to check the authenticity. Then, of course, the implementation and execution part, where you how you would implement it, where you would work on it. That is something that you'll have to do, because that is what can make and break. आप ये सब चीजें अच्छे करो, लेकिन you don't implement it properly, that program is dead. What are the expected outcomes? You need to decide on the expected outcomes. This is a very crucial part. It has to basically it is translation into action. Okay, bird watching trail. People are going for bird watching programs. You watch so many birds. After that, what? Then what? What do you understand? There's this concept of lifers. Bird watching के लिए जाएंगे. First time, lifers. How many birds have you watched? Counting. There's a score keeping. Yes, as much as that is great as a hobby, can we translate that into something action oriented? We have got amazing citizen science project that works on. I said that time duration. I did not elaborate purposely. If you have heard about the Christmas bird count that happens with Audubon Society, the first bird count happened in 1900, December 1900, Christmas of 1900. That was the first bird count that Audubon Society started. To the date, it is on. It's a long running environment awareness program as well, because people are getting aware, people are trying to count, and that data is fed into the Audubon Society website. They manage that whole thing. You can come across where, kya, kahan pe, what you observed where. In India, we have got Nature Watch, I think Migrant Watch, Season Watch. These kind of websites are there. And so, post it over there. Be a part of citizen science projects. They've been all, I spoke about it, that it is all about translating to actions. It is all about action oriented projects. Action oriented matlab kya? You should be able to see some outcome out of it, right? The most important component is feedback, which is often the most neglected component. Which is I thought I will speak more about this. Talk about the feedback. It's a very important component. It's also the most neglected component, and often done as a lip service. How was the program? Nice. That's not a feedback. Anybody would say the same thing on your face. You need qualitative feedback as well as quantitative feedback. Qualitative, they would write a bit more. Quantitative, where you get numbers. How many people liked it, how much you liked it, to the scale, or those kind of things. If you ask me, I would try to forget the positive comments, but I would try to remember the negative ones. It's for the improvement of the quality of the program, end of the day. Now, when would you collect feedback? Feedback kab loge? That is very critical. Pre-program feedback, because that helps us understand the level of awareness, the perception of the people, thought process kya hai? Why are they coming to that program? What are their expectations? And then post-program. So is there a change in perception? What was the quality of your program? Unfortunately, on a Facebook Live or something, I can't take a feedback from you. During my lectures, every year, what I do is, during my lectures, I keep on asking, is there anything to be done? Is it what? Are you able to understand? Or these kind of things. Even at the end of my sessions, I ask, is this method which I'm teaching you, is it right? Or do you want me to change? Is there anything that you did not like? I check this feedback, because that is what would help me develop as a professor, as a faculty, as an educator, more than anything else. What would you include in a feedback? Pre-program activities, No, pre-program activities. Booking के लिए how was ease of booking? Whether people who spoke to you, were they properly speaking with you properly or not? Information properly diya ke nahi? These are things that would come through pre-program feedback. Pre-program feedback is that, you ask them. So if you put up a questionnaire, at the end of the program, let's say you are putting up a questionnaire or something like that, ask about the pre-program activities as well. How was booking? Was it easy to book, take a booking? Was this place easy to look? What interested you in this program? Ask these about the actual program. How was the program, actual program? How was a resource person, the quality and everything? How well the program was managed? If there are multiple sessions, how were they managed? Were they managed properly? How was the time management? Sometimes people overshoot it, or sometimes they go below the time. This thing. So that's another part. Look at this time management. Time management, I feel, unfortunately, is where we lack the most. We often overshoot it, or we, tend to cut it short. Cut it short, बहुत rarely होता है. It's usually we overshoot it. Was the resource person on time? Did the program begin on time? How are the amenities like? If it is to a center or somewhere, were there washrooms available? Was there anything else? Drinking water facilities? In fact, if you ask me, if I go to any place, I would just look at the washroom first, because it talks a lot about their how much attention to detail do they have, because that's the last place where people think about keeping clean. Food, if it's applicable, if there is a food component involved, ask them how was the food component. These are very important part of feedback, which people often, please understand, feedback is very, very critical. This is the most neglected, but I feel more than your programs, your feedback should talk to you. So what would be the mechanisms for collecting tools or tools for collecting feedback? Oral feedback. Just ask, how was the program? That's one way. Did you enjoy it? Any suggestions? Oral. Ask a quiz. The moment you ask a quiz, people answer, you know whether they have been paying attention, their program was effective or not. It is a way of doing it. I often quiz students in between my lectures just to understand how my lectures, is it in the right direction or not. Recall. You can ask a question, okay, can you remember what it is? This is a recall. Recall is nothing but what did we do? What do you mean by this? That's a recall. Survey method. This is one of the most common methods of collecting feedback. Feedback forms. Questionnaires. Questionnaires are nothing but basically you will ask a set of questions. How it is, what do you feel, and everything. That's a questionnaire. Now, questionnaire again, I would suggest use a rating scale as well. Did you like it? Did you not like it? No. Ask it. How much did you like it? Were you very satisfied, or was it very, very nice, very poor? Beach wale ratings DGA. Rate them on 1 to 5. That is a critical aspect. Reviews. Sometimes asking subjective questions also help, because there are certain aspects like suggestions and all which are required, which probably you might not come across through your quantitative feedback. So that's why this qualitative and quantitative, both feedbacks are very, very crucial. If you're asking from the kids' point of view, I use drawings and creatives, because they may not be able to rate your programs. Ask them to draw creatives, because what they would draw would tell you a lot about your program, especially with small kids. I said suggestions. So what would be the suggestions? Is there anything else? What would you suggest? These kind of things are something that people often ask. Now, feedbacks, if you check Google, you will get a lot of feedback templates in themselves are available. Try to modify them to your requirement. end of the day, we have to understand that environment education program should not lead to environmental damage itself. Like it happens sometimes, we take paper recycling workshop. So when you're taking paper recycling workshop, don't take up papers that are brand new papers. You try to cut them and try to use them paper recycling. No, like when a few years back, I used to conduct a lot of paper recycling workshops. So what I used to use was bus tickets. Before this, these printed tickets, or the ones that are called, what do you call those? Hotting tickets came into picture. The older ones had printed, which were punched. I used to collect them because that was something for which there was no disposal mechanism available for bus tickets. That is something which I observed. So if I'm doing a paper recycling workshops, if I can use this, a large chunk of these bus tickets, which are probably would have gone to the garbage dump, are being used as a recycled paper. We had tried doing this when I was working with WWF. In fact, it reached such a this thing that a lot of my friends knew that I collect this thing. So even if I used to go there for some function, I remember one of my friends giving me a plastic bag or a box full of tickets, bus tickets, on the day of her wedding. So that is how we have, we have to understand. That's how you should create a reputation. That they would give you these kind of things, because otherwise, if you are using a virgin paper, it's of no use. We are defeating the very purpose of recycling paper, right? So what would be the career opportunities? Career opportunities, there's a wide range, but I would suggest strengthen your basics first before entering into environment education. It is very easy to enter into environment education without having your basics, because it's one of the fields. What baati to karna hai, that is what people think. There's a lot of things that go behind the scenes, research. So non-government organizations like BNHS, WWF India, Green Line, there are so many NGOs working out there. Intern with them. Government agencies, whether it is the environment department in Mantralaya or the central government, or you have got MPCB. MPCB runs a campaign called Maji Vasundhara, which is which is an environment education program. Semi-government organization like CEE, Center for Environment Education, it's a 7-government organization. They do offer these. Then education institute, I work with an education institute. So they do require, right? Corporates, consultancy firms, even Purnam Eco Foundation, they are an NGO, but they also have a consultancy firm. So consultancy firms would also require this. Research institutes, end of the day, I would suggest research institutes require environment education more, because they have hardcore research that needs to be translated to education program. Whether it is WII, BSI, ZSI, NEERI, everybody has this environment education opportunities as well. Training institutes, teacher training institute, colleges, they also come up with these. Newspapers, magazines, periodicals, they need a lot of people writing about environment. Journalism, blogs, these are another opportunity where you don't have to depend on anyone. Feel free to write your own self. Facebook pages, of course, documentaries, short film, anything and everything that you have passion in, you can use it. Like Rohan Chakravarti uses it, cartooning, as an environment education tool. So this has changed, environment education has changed a lot. Even Homi Bhabha Center for Homi Bhabha, exams, the Bal Vaidyanik exams, they had this project component. So now they are including an action project component. I used to often go there for as a judge over there. So we have seen a lot of kids do that action-oriented project, whether it is vermicomposting, whether it is observing the biodiversity around, or everything. They do that. These opportunities are immense. We just need to keep your eyes open. With that, thank you.